Sai Ram, have you heard of the generosity paradox? A paradox is a seemingly impossible situation, but it occurs naturally in the real world. The generosity paradox says that the more you give, the more you will have, the more you will receive. It doesn't seem to make sense because, as I keep giving, what I have with me should keep reducing, right? How will it keep growing? That is why it is said that it's a paradox. But then, if we look at the universe around us, everything seems to be round. Well, not exactly a circle, an oval maybe, but round, it completes a loop. You get what I mean? For instance, if you look at the earth, it is round. You start at one point on the earth and keep moving ahead, you will come back to the same point. The earth goes in a circle, in a round maybe, around the sun. The sun itself goes in a round around the entire galaxy. The sun with the solar system. The whole galaxy itself is moving again round the entire other galaxies. The whole universe is round. Everything is round. The universe seems to convey the message to us that what goes around will come around. In fact, that is the basis of the karma theory as well. Once we understand one aspect, we will realize that the thing about generosity is that it is not a paradox. Again, I learned this at the lotus feet of my beloved master, my dear Swami, through not one but two beautiful experiences. I still remember that day very vividly. It was the 21st of December 1998. Almost every day in 1998 I remember very vividly because that was my first year as Swami student in the divine physical presence at Puttaparthi. Again, before I go into that story, one more point that comes to my mind is when something happens to us for the first time, the first darshan, the first time Swami speaks to us, we remember it so vividly. After that, it seems to be the case of familiarity breeding neglect, if not contempt, because we don't seem to value it so much. Say, the 10th darshan, what happened, do we remember? Many of us don't. And those of you who do, my salutations to you, because truly what we gain from Swami is not as much dependent on what Swami gives physically, but it is dependent on how much we cherish those chances and remember him. I can definitely remember my first darshan and I can definitely remember some highlights, but I don't remember everything. As I said right now, I can remember almost every day of 1998 because I have recorded them dutifully in my diary. But as time went on, my diary entries became sketchier and only certain days I would make detailed notes. Never should we take Swami for granted. Every moment with him is as new, as amazing, as fantastic as every other moment. So on the 21st of December, as I went and sat in the mandir waiting for darshan, I had in my pocket a white handkerchief. These were the few years when I was also among the students who got a chance to run and offer a handkerchief to Swami whenever he materialized Vibhuti. Of course, the excuse would be that we are helping Swami wipe his hand, but in reality it was that we would get a handkerchief blessed with Swami's Vibhuti. So, as I went to mandir, I would scan the faces of all the devotees who were seated there, trying to judge who looked devoted enough or who looked worthy enough to receive Vibhuti from Swami. Yes, I am guilty of doing this judgment. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it flopped miserably. Anyway, having done that scan, I quickly sat in a place near a person whom I thought would get Vibhuti because he was sitting and meditating. When Swami came for darshan, instead of this meditating person, Swami went a little ahead and created Vibhuti for a Westerner who was seated there. I jumped out of my place and rushed to Swami with a white handkerchief in my hand. And as Swami gave Vibhuti to not just this Westerner but several other devotees around him, I offered the handkerchief to Swami. Swami looked at me, smiled, quick smile it was, wiped his hand on the handkerchief, threw it, and he turned and began to walk away. It was part of my duty as well to give pieces of paper to all these devotees who had got vibhuti from Swami. This was to help them put the vibhuti in that paper, pack it and take it home if they wished to. As I was giving this Western gentleman looked at me and asked for one more piece of paper. Strange request, but no big deal. So I gave him one more piece of paper. Then he shook his head to say no, and he pointed to my pocket. That is when I realized that he was asking from me the handkerchief that Swami had wiped his hand on. I just smiled, shook my head to say no, and went back to my place. The darshan was still on, the music was still going on, and two thoughts began to go in my head, as they say, the proverbial angel and devil came and started speaking. The only problem is, while in cartoons they show the angel and devil clearly, in reality we don't know which voice is the angel, which voice is the devil. In fact, I had done one funny and interesting video on that. You can have a look at that. The link is above. As I sat in my place, one voice was telling me, Arvind, you could have given him that handkerchief, right? Why did you not give him? I protested. The other voice protested. It said, come on, he got vibhuti, I got the handkerchief. If I had asked him to give the vibhuti, would he have given? Yeah, maybe he would have given. You did not ask, but he asked. You did not give. Oh, even if he had given the vibhuti, he would have given me part of that vibhuti, right? I cannot divide my handkerchief. I can't tear it and give him a piece of it. Arvind, you should have given him the handkerchief. No, but it's mine. I also want it. Arvind, you should have given him that handkerchief. The problem or the feature of this voice of conscience is that it keeps nagging, it keeps repeating the same thing again and again very calmly. It won't care for any arguments that you give. It just keeps telling what is the right thing to be done calmly. And again the voice said, no Arvind, you should have given that handkerchief to him. A few moments later, the music went off, which meant that Swami had gone into the interview room. The darshan session was over. Many devotees began to get up and leave. This was the time they would go to the canteen, have some snacks and come back in time for the bhajan. Many devotees were leaving, but I saw from a distance that devotee who had asked me for the handkerchief was still sitting there. The voices in my head had also become silent. I just got up, went to this person. He was now sitting in meditation. Possibly he was thinking of that beautiful moment. Because Swami says that in order to receive the completion of blessings of darshan, you need to sit and relive that darshan, meditate on it, so that all the energies you receive. The same holds true even now for any bhajan session, any satsang session, anytime Swami comes in the dream. In order to receive the completion of it, go to a silent space, sit and meditate on that beautiful experience that you have had. That is what we should do in order to capture that energy completely. This man was doing that. I patted him on his shoulder. He looked up at me. And the moment he looked up at me, I just smiled, dropped the handkerchief on his lap and ran away. I didn't want him to speak to me. After running a little distance, I hid behind one of the pillars in the mandir and watched him. Oh my God, he was fondling that handkerchief. He was hugging it. He was kissing it. He was keeping it close to his heart. Oh, he was cherishing it. He was moving up and down, and he was expressing deep gratitude to Swami. I felt such a surge of joy in my heart. Believe me, dear brothers and sisters, because I had got the opportunity to offer handkerchief to Swami multiple times, as I had told in the beginning, nothing is as memorable as the first time. So the joy had progressively reduced. Now the joy that I got by seeing how this Western gentleman was fondling the handkerchief was in fact greater than the joy that I had got when I gave Swami the handkerchief. Strange but true. I felt so happy. See, this is what it is. What goes around comes around. The next day, 22nd of December 1998, once again went to the mandir, scanned the area and I sat opposite to few devotees who had come from New Zealand, New Zealand as they call it, The New Zealand devotees always call New Zealand as New Zealand because that is the term Swami gave for New Zealand. So I sat opposite there, and just as I had anticipated during the darshan when Swami came there, Swami materialized vibhuti for the devotees from New Zealand. Since I was sitting right there, I got up and rushed. It was a competition because there would be several other students having white handkerchiefs, and only one, as per discipline, only one should go to Swami. So the one who started first and reaches first, reaches, the others drop away and sit back in their place. So the next day also I happened to reach Swami, and I offered the handkerchief to him. This time Swami did not even look at me, he just wiped his hand and threw the handkerchief. And it fell to the floor in front of him. Now I could not bend, and obstruct his path to take the handkerchief, so I just waited. I thought, let Swami proceed, then I will pick up the handkerchief. In the meanwhile, I began to hand out these pieces of paper to all the devotees who had received the vibhuti. Swami walked and went ahead, and then when I looked down, the handkerchief is missing. It's not there. I then began to look suspiciously at these devotees. Did one of them pick it up? It's mine. I was telling them, my handkerchief, it's my handkerchief, The vibhuti is for you guys, the handkerchief is mine. Even as I was telling this, Swami stood and turned around, and all the devotees were pointing to Swami. I looked at Swami, a sweet, mischievous Lord, smiling just like how he is smiling here in this photograph. He gently shook one of his legs. And then as he took a step ahead, the kerchief was deposited down there. You know what Swami had done? He had held the kerchief with his toes and he had dragged it along under his robe. All the while as he took 7-8 steps, I could not see the kerchief because they were under his feet. Wow, doubly blessed, triply blessed handkerchief. I think when I went and picked up that handkerchief from the floor, returning Swami's smile, all the other devotees were also smiling. That handkerchief must have cursed its fate, Till then it was at the feet of the Lord, now it came into the hands of this fellow here. But I took that handkerchief and returned. It was very, very memorable. So memorable that I am feeling the joy even now as I am speaking about it. I held the handkerchief close to my heart and I hugged it and I was like, oh Swami, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Such a beautiful thing. What a beautiful prank you did. What lovely. It brought so much smiles and it keeps the heart smiling for years and years also. And I'm sure even now, though you have not witnessed that incident, your hearts are also smiling. That is the magnificence of the Lord's Leela. It positively benefits everybody. And even as I was hugging the handkerchief, it struck me. Oh my God, just 24 hours before, at the same time, almost at a similar space, I had done an action that had given joy to a person who held a handkerchief close to his heart and was grateful and was so thrilled. 24 hours later, so fast, what went around had come around. I was in a similar situation, hugging a handkerchief close to my heart, smiling and expressing gratitude. Generosity seems like a paradox because things are limited in the material universe. There is only so much of material, but things are unlimited in the spiritual universe. With just one candle flame, we can light 1,000,000 candle flames and this candle loses nothing. The same way in the spiritual universe, the more we keep giving, the more we keep getting. It is unlimited, it's infinite there. So therefore, it is never a zero-sum game like the material universe. Before I conclude, let me tell you one more important disclaimer about the generosity paradox. If we are generous, thinking that when I'm giving today, I'm going to get back tomorrow, the paradox collapses. Generosity doesn't work because it's no longer generosity then. Why? Because this selfishness of me doing something in order to get it back is that which belongs to the material universe. And the material universe is limited. And therefore, in the material universe, when I give away something, it's gone. I may or may not get it back. When I am selfless, I become part of the spiritual universe. It may happen in 24 hours or 24 days or 24 months or 24 years or 24 lifetimes. But thing will definitely come back. Every little good that we do will come back to us. The challenge, as I said, is doing good for the sake of doing good, not keeping an eye on the return that I will get. Dear Swami, please touch our hearts. You've already touched our heart. May we not pollute it with anything. May it remain selfless and as loving and beautiful as you have gifted it to us. May we all be generous in our lives. May we keep giving. As you say, love gives and forgives. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.